Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dimitri Paniotu, and every Friday we sit down with a builder who refuses to stay in one lane and decides to take on risk and embellish off of their authentic measure of self. And today we have an incredible guest, a very amazing entrepreneur. If you haven't already seen him on Instagram, you're certainly missing out. But allow me to introduce our guest for this week, Gera. Welcome, man.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Before we touch into one single company, you've been a part of a lot of different operations. I would love to ask, how early did your day start, and what was the first thing that you got to business today, if I can ask?
Today, yeah. So this morning, I started at 4:30. Me and my best friend Jackson, we went to the gym. Worked out from 4:30 to about 5:45, and then after that, got home, made some breakfast. Then after that, got straight to work. Came to the warehouse where I'm at right now. Got some work done. Hopped on some calls. Had to do some ad stuff as well. And then later today, went to the White Sox field, and I was able to take some batting practice on the field today, which was pretty dope.
Dude, that is epic. I was going to say I hope they lost. I'm kidding. I'm a Detroit fan, but either way, man, baseball is the time of the year. That's all I can think about, as well as Fable 5, but we'll get started into it, man. So you've had yourself not only a very strong presence on social, but what was the maybe words from a mentor in the past that made you lean in fully to social and not only authenticate your vision? You obviously speak very confidently online, but what were the words from maybe a mentor? Take me back to that first moment that you really leaned in on social.
Yeah, to be honest, I never had like a mentor that told me or really put me on with social media. I've always been online since I was a kid. I've been on YouTube since I was like 12, which is half my life. So, I've always just posted content, and I've been pretty good at going with the trends and going with what I see is what I see that are in my interest, and yeah, so it's more just my own self, me being self-educated with social media and learn how to do it.
And that's almost been a pattern of your entrepreneurial journey. You learned at a very young age to code. When you first learned, was there any instance or maybe infraction that you had estimated to where coding is today? Clearly we're vibe coding, we're using the English language to produce platform and software engineering. Was that at all an intuition that you had at that moment at a very young age yourself when you self-taught yourself to code?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I always seen coding and software engineering being the future in some form of way, and now we have vibe coding, which just makes programming 10 times a lot easier, and you could build stuff like insane softwares and backends within weeks instead of multiple years having a whole payroll of like 5 to 10 people.
That's huge. It's got to save expense. And I'm also on the alignment. I was an athlete in due time. You were as well, if I'm correct. What was the one thing that you're using today, maybe either a discipline mindset? What is it that you're using today that has benefited from your athletic past and experience?
Yeah, I would say it's always been leadership. I was often the leader on most of the teams I played in, to kindergarten all the way through college. Leadership, communication, and also just having that type of work ethic. I think when I was young, I wasn't going to start on varsity when I was a junior. So going to that summer from sophomore year to junior year, that whole summer, I took my own money out. I bought a basketball hoop for outside. I bought like a basketball net that shoots the ball back out at you.
Nice.
Not even paid like even a trainer. So I kind of like invest into myself. At I think 15 years old, I probably spent like $2,000 that summer from all the summer jobs I had working and doing my own stuff, always growing up. So just having that work ethic, being so young, I used to try to make 500 shots every day. I would make 250 in the morning and 250 at night, and that helped me get better. And then by the time I hit my junior year, I was starting. I didn't start every game, but I was starting a lot of games, and every game I started, I scored anywhere from 10 to 15 points. So it just showed that it just showed that really early on that if I just put my head down and I focus on what needs to get done, and I focus on my role on this team and what I could do right now and ways that I could start. And the team, we didn't have much shooters, so I was like, okay, let me just be a shooter.
Yeah.
And it's worked out.
That's awesome. So it's in your blood, and especially in athletics, you might have instances of either a coach or there's always an outsider, not a hater, but just somebody telling you no. You had instances in your past with, App Store and app development, now working in the AI consultancy. What is it when you hear no that you leave with? For me, it almost is a proven way of, this is a path I need to continue. I need to put up 500 shots a day. But what does that mean to you when you hear no?
In the business world, it just depends on who's saying no, to be honest. If it's someone that's actually kind of important and that's someone that I kind of respect and they say no, I kind of sit back and really think, okay, why did they say no? And I just ask my why no, and try to really understand the deeper into the meaning of why this is a no. But anytime someone says no, I often just think it's like, if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be, but I'm gonna still try. So if someone says no and I'm trying to get into some secret, private VC or tech event, I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying until they really say no. Like 4 or 5 people tell me no. But if it's not something that could change my life and someone says no, I'm like, okay, well, it's okay.
It's meant to be, but it's like fighting for those rooms that you're not meant to be. And if you're listening today, either on YouTube or just on your walk or simply waking up today, I'm sure that you're going to hear no more than you might hear yes, but it's only who it's saying it and how bad do you really want it. And I have to ask, because your consultancy has blown up, and has it been under 3 years that's been in production? Is that right?
Yeah, it's been actually under 2 years. I started it when I was living in Spain, but cool. I didn't really take it seriously until we're in July 2026 right now. I didn't start taking it seriously until February 2025. So like a year and a half ago is when I kind of started taking it a little serious.
Nice. If there was one thing, because I got to pinpoint on this, because it's been almost 24 months since you've taken it 110%. You clearly take everything to 100%, but what's the one thing that you know now that you wish you could tell that one individual yourself, let's say January of 2025? There might be somebody listening out there that's either trying to find their niche or they're trying out with these N8N platforms. They're here using Claude agents, but for yourself, what would you say
definitely.
to yourself?
I'll say early on, just trying to figure out, stop trying to do everything at once. And the second you get a client, ask that client, can they refer you? Just beg. Because getting your first few clients is the hardest thing. But if that client can refer you, and now you have a whole referral program, and it's just it's kind of like a ball that just keeps rolling down the hill. I mean, it's kind of like momentum. It just keeps stacking up. And that's the same thing with this business model. It's just momentum. And it goes both ways. So I would just say, really try to get your first clients to really give you a referral. Like the second you complete some type of build or some type of project for them, just so you could try to get more clients out the door, and stop trying to do everything. Because doing everything at once, especially early on when you have no traction, no growth, you're going to just get burnt out and you're going to be tired.
It's like trying to token max when you're not getting reoccurring sales. It's great. You're building something that's either super fancy or has practical value, but you still haven't sold it. How do you balance that for yourself between builds and sales? How has that worked for you in your business?
It just depends on the business, but truly, the biggest thing is delegating and training. I learned really early on, if you don't train, have the proper SOPs, proper stacks, proper um, uh, just the way, just proper management, this is gonna blow up there. Really, really, I would say, just finding people who are better at you in certain fields and having them run the show and giving them full control. Don't try to micromanage because when you micromanage, you could have just done that task yourself. So it's just really, I say a lot of it's just hiring the right people and training. Training is like the big thing that I actually uh, advocate for. Because if you try to bring someone in and they don't know what they're doing, and your training, your SOPs, your documents, and the whole funnel of them getting started isn't put together, they're gonna waste the first month doing nothing practically.
It is so hard building something. You get it deployed, you either jump on a discovery call, and then once you're ready to sell it, it breaks or something in the process goes down. What is it that helps you understand exactly what is going to work when you take those first steps with a new client? There might be somebody listening today that is one corner around. They're so close. But what has worked for you in that in that particular instance?
I would say when you're talking to a new client and it's just really it's really a lot of numbers, a lot of KPIs, seeing what they're already bringing in. But for us, since we kind of when you niche down, you kind of see the same problems in each client. So it's a lot more plausible to say, okay, you're doing 60K a month right now. If we integrate this, you project to do 80 to 90. If we integrate this, you would get this many sales calls. If we integrate this, you would get X amount of new emails or DMs or leads, or your efficiency from this person would be faster because we did this for you. So it's a lot more easy, not more easy. It's very much likely for us to know what the client needs are because we have clients in that same niche already.
You're talking to somebody that has the same instance and the same issue that you already solved. And so I'm sure this also relates because you travel a very good amount. Are these issues in a way culturally between Europe, America? Break that down for me on what you're seeing as a pattern, but also as a display of difference in those different cultures and areas per se.
Yeah, for sure. I think when it comes to doing business in overseas and different countries with different language and everything is of course a cultural difference, but it's also an entire mindset shift. A lot of times when you're talking to European clients, the second it hits 5 o'clock their time, depending on the industry, they're not gonna pick up a call or check an email. Out here in the States, if I have a client, they want to hop on a call Saturday, Sunday, I'm fine with that. I just send them over to their own account executive that hops on the calls with them. But it's night and day difference, but it also depends on the industry. Because for me, I used to work in fashion, and a lot of people in the fashion industry, depending on what's your role, you're working Saturday and Sunday. If you're working on the corporate side of fashion, like you're working on the weekend, you're working late, 7, 8 p.m. because they understand that, yeah, it may not be software engineering or tech or finance, but in some of these European countries, fashion is probably a good portion of their like economy growth.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Nah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's huge. And so I guess when you see those difference of niches, you work with great enterprises, you've worked with small businesses. What did that break down to now in Q3, where you're seeing some of those smaller enterprise issues either scale up or just have a bigger highlighter around them because they're either spending $100,000 more a month? What does that translate to now to these bigger enterprise partners that you work with on a daily basis? Internationally, of course.
I would say it just really translates into just it's not as hard as it sounds, but it's really just better SOPs, better track. It's just doing it's just better everything. when you're messing with like bigger corporations and just being on top of it compared to small corporations, which you still want to do great work, but you understand when you're talking to people who are C-suite execs and everything, they completely understand what you're doing or you're saying, and they completely understand the budget that you're saying they need for this project. And it's a lot easier to build them something because you're not even selling them nothing at this point. You're just building them something to expedite their business, make it more efficient, or even bring them in more leads. A lot of times, small corporations that may do less than $2 million a year or $1 million a year, they don't really see that hindsight. So I mean, it is kind of a night day difference, but it's just because they have a bigger budget, they have a bigger team, and the team is just, and the execs of the team, they're more of a veteran in this space, so it's easier to do business with them a lot of times.
That's cool, and I totally understand where that can ultimately translate within your content outreach, and then now with Polymath as well. I'm curious to see with the amount of platforms that you're using, because if you've been in this space, unless you've been under a rock, it's almost as if every 2 weeks things are interchanging. But how can you help yourself in a way to keep things simple enough to promise an outcome without getting overlapped with these new tools?
Without getting, let's say, overwhelmed or overlap with a lot of these new things coming out every week or every 2 weeks, it's just I have someone on the team. He's like a executive assistant. Every week he brings me new, not just content ideas, but new ads that we've seen, new automations, new competitors, and I really have him create like a whole document breaking down. And he shows me this every Friday. What's
Nice.
new in kind of every space: content, marketing, consultancy, startups, and we really go over what should we include and what we should include. And a lot of time, he also tests out the stuff before he shows me. So, luckily enough, I have someone that kind of uses his time to does all the research, just so I don't have to like go into it and waste my time doing most of the research or even trying these tools out.
And you're a veteran, you use these every day. Is there any tool that he's shown you in the last 30 days where he shows you what he's built or he shows you his experience and you're speechless? Is there any tool that has occurred with that?
To be honest, no, I haven't really been speechless from like any tool at all. I mean, every time Claude drops like a new update,
Yeah.
I'm more scared of some of my friends that have startups. I'm like, damn, they're gonna pretty soon have some update that's gonna take away one of my friends' startup that raised 10 mil or whatever. But
Damn.
I'm not really speechless, I would say, just because a lot of stuff I seen or a lot of stuff I already assumed it would come out or I heard like, oh, this will be released. So I've been speechless at all. But early on, when I was, let's say, doing the AI consultant, anytime I would show a client some of the stuff that we would be doing, the clients, they would be speechless because they couldn't believe how far along AI is and how far along like the progression of this technology is for marketing, UGC ads, campaigns, creating pitch decks, automations. Like a company I like a lot is Whisperflow. I mean, that's one of my favorite companies of all time. And even just showing people Whisperflow, they lose their mind from that. So I think from me being in the space and me even going to school to get my software engineering degree, I'm not really like shocked that much. But when I show people who are in the space or I show clients that I'm trying to sign, they often get shocked a lot of times.
You show them, hey, you've been talking to your phone via text messages forever. What if you
Yeah.
did that on your computer? I just recently showed my beloved mother that has her own solopreneur journey. She sells eyewear online, and I showed her exactly what the hell Whisperflow is, and it was like, yeah, I'm never touching any more of the keys on this keyboard. So that's great to hear, man. And I noticed as the ads are definitely, ChatGPT ads are here. Meta has definitely announced its proclamation in the space. It takes money to make money, but if there's a user, if you're out there listening, you might be in the space where you're wanting to give away something in order to gain trust. And I
Yeah.
notice your webinar is coming around the corner. Tell me more. What are you mostly excited about with if it's your first webinar or if you're wanting to do something different? What does that look like for you and your company? I'm super excited to hop on that coming in the next week, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's coming in 3 days, on the 19th of July. Yeah, so the webinar is my first webinar. I have a good team and management team that's helping me put it together. And the webinar is like a two-way thing. So it's going to be consulting. It's more for B2Bs. So we're breaking down how we get clients, and we're kind of marketing towards two different type of people. People who want us to implement this stuff into their business, and people who want to learn and license some of our automations and results, so they can try to get clients as well. So it's a kind of like a double webinar. It's probably gonna be for 2 hours long, and yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's my first one. Never done it before, but it's pretty much gonna break down exactly how this is how we signed this plastic surgeon clinic right here. They was doing $5-6 million in revenue. This is what we implemented. Hey, this is how we signed this contract for 30K. It took us this long to make, yeah, and we increased the revenue from 50K to 110K in the last 6 months because of what we've done for them.
Wow.
And it's showing a lot of case studies, but also we're showing a lot of exact outreach methods that we use to get clients. And it's like I said, it's kind of like a two-in-one. It's for B2B people who have businesses and that want us to implement it, and also B2B people as well who have an agency already but wants to license our results, or they want to learn kind of not one-on-one, but learn from my team or learn from my past students how they're successful as well. So, yeah,
It's bringing
I said,
everybody in one space.
no, definitely. And the best thing I think is, since there would be business owners there that have, let's say, private practices, it would be a chance for people who already have an agency to talk to business owners in the chat. So you could probably get a client while you're watching this webinar. So it's just the best of both worlds. And we're also going to show a few tools that we're offering in a program. We have this referral program that business owners, kind of like, let's say, Upwork for AI automations or AI consultancy. You will have business owners, let's say roofers, doctors, small corporations that want certain automation, certain software builds, even certain marketing. And they would post their job posts on our referral board or our job board. And if you're a agency owner or consultant owner, you could bid towards these jobs. So it's kind of like a government contracting website, and that's what we're showing off as well.
That's huge. I cannot say I'm a huge fan of Upwork. My freelancing journey was maybe started there as somebody at that point, but really being in the same room. Hopefully, get the information. Jared clearly knows what he's talking about. So if you're out there listening and you want to get in on a free webinar, again, you have nothing to lose. Join in, especially if there's going to be a possible client. Do your work, and it's totally worth it. I am super excited to join on it in 3 days. And I'm curious, on this trajectory throughout 2026, what is it that's keeping you so motivated? You're clearly doing a lot of different things all at once. You're waking up early, you're hanging out with those that mean the most to you, but what is it that is keeping you the most motivated throughout the rest of the year?
I don't really believe in, let's say, motivation, because motivation, you kind of need to have some type of, like, people often wait for the perfect moment, the perfect song to get motivated. It's super ironic, but like today in the gym, me and Jackson, we both forgot our headphones, and neither of us listened to music while working out, and we kind of like raw dog this whole hour workout. But
Yeah.
I'm just used to it. And same thing with flights sometimes, I'm often used to raw dog and flights, and I would say it's not really motivated. It's just I'm seeing the opportunity in the space, and I truly just want to build my version of an AI ecosystem / AI economy. So everything I do, I try to factor in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Will this business still be around, and how will it benefit business owners or people? So that's why each thing that you guys may see me do online or in the last year or so, they all interconnect in some shape or form. And I take a lot of inspiration from Walt Disney. If you know Walt Disney, he has this like Disney map thing, and it's super, super like
It's so complex, and it's like
yeah, yeah,
I know what you're talking, and
yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a paper. He has this written over here for theme parks, shows, television, music, movies, and this everything's connected to Disney. And I've been doing that same thing my whole life, but now since I say more intertwined with AI and intertwined with um, in this community, I've have established better relationships, better partnerships, and I believe that I guess this is not my calling, but this is what I'm meant to do no matter what. So, like I said, I'm just building my own AI ecosystem so it could benefit this new AI economy that we're about to go into for the rest of our life, probably.
That is huge, especially if you're out there and you find some form of itch. You haven't scratched it. You're trying to talk to maybe a dad's business, a connection out there. What a better way to kind of start fresh, use skills that you have already in your repertoire. If you have a degree, great. If not, then so be it. And I'd love to kind of infer this question within your background in your academia. Do you really see a lot of that transferable knowledge? Because you went for software engineering, so I'm sure a paramount of it applies to your day-to-day. But in a generic business sense, do you find a lot of that in 2026 to be transferable in the day-to-day?
To be honest, most of my business, and I hate saying so I'm so sorry if my parents are watching this. Most of my business knowledge comes from, if I'm being honest, my pops. I can't accredit no business knowledge to school. The only thing from school I can say, because I went for my bachelor's and then I started my master's at Columbia. I didn't finish though, but it's just my pops. In terms of business, my pops, my uncle, my whole family has done business, started their own stuff for years and years. Even my grandfather had his own painting business. So just being able to be around that and ask them questions, and also being able to ask my father's friends questions, and some of them have sold companies for 8 figures. So just being around in that environment and being able to have a chance to just ask him a question, I think that's where I got most of my business knowledge from. School is just really and showing that you could do something 4 or 5 years or 6 years, however long it takes you, and showing that you could complete a hard task. Because school is hard no matter what your degree is. Right. It's hard that you're committing towards something 4, 5, 6, however many years it takes you, and yeah.
Clearly shows, like I share that same state where it's got to be backed behind an actual passionate pursuit. Family is clearly a part of that in your life as well as mine, and so backing that, if you have questions, you know exactly who to go to. Not meaning that there isn't any networks that I, let alone, don't reach out to. I've lived here in Austin for a couple years now, and of course having that type of ecosystem, I'm curious to see if there's one individual that's at a new spot, they're in a new city. What's the best recommendation to make sure that you're either building around like-minded people or you're just surrounding yourself around those ecosystems?
Definitely. The best tip I can give you guys is go on TikTok, go on LinkedIn, and search up tech events, finance events, whatever type of industry you want to be in, and go to these events and meet these people. Because, to be honest, the biggest thing that you can do is be more lucky. And when I say luck, it's not saying that like a lottery system, but putting yourself out there mathematically, you have a higher chance of making something of yourself and making a connection, a business partner, or even an investor. So every time I post online, I never know who's going to see this. I've had countless of people that I've looked up to my entire life in business that follow me or like my stuff or even DM me just because of content I post online. And you just never know who's seeing your stuff if you post, but also you never know who you'll meet by going out there. So you always just want to mathematically have a higher chance of success by putting yourself out there, because the second you stop, you're gonna be stagnant and there will be no more progress. It's just so important to just keep moving and keep doing stuff, because the second you stop, you're gonna be lazy, you're not gonna meet nobody, you're gonna be depressed, and you may not ever break out. And that big breakout that you're waiting for could be from a DM, a video you posted, a event you went to, even talking to someone on a flight. I was on a flight from Hawaii last week. I met this guy that he graduated from Chicago Booth, and I told him what I do, and I told him how I'm thinking about going to Harvard Business School, this and that. And short story short, I say short story short instead of long story short.
Right.
Short story short, he put me in contact with people that's in a specific field that I kind of need for this startup I'm doing called Open Data.
That's huge.
So and that was just from me talking, and he was right next to me on the flight. So you just never know who you meet or speak to. That's why you always want to test your luck by just putting yourself out there.
And it's always happening. I always find this the most humorous spot. It's always occurring on those times where it's an hour before the event starts. Just got back from your 9 to 5, whatever the case may be. You want to eat dinner, you want to go hang out with your girlfriend, you just want to sit on the couch, but you just think, why not? I've never been to this event. Maybe I've never met this person. Maybe somebody invited you, and that's huge. If you can go with somebody that you maybe already had some past conversations, then great. But I'm also curious as well, do you find anything that we're so comfortable? Like I said, these tools are all interchanging, that even halfway through this year into 2027, that you find that's going to be a totally different landscape?
In terms of tools, like what you mean, like tools that I'm using, or tools that, like what you mean by that?
Just even the conversation around AI. We've certainly moved away from ANI, which is, narrow intelligence. We're more in the AGI era. Do you still find that to be true for the next the next 6 months, or do you find something to be emerging underneath that's maybe a secret to most?
I talk to a lot of people that's in like the startup world and even in the VC space as well.
Right.
I think I probably can't say what my one friend told me, because the VC that he works for, they're about to invest into this company that's about to announce their Series A in a couple months. So I definitely think this company that I'm thinking about, whenever they announce the company and everything in the next 2 months, I definitely think that would be kind of like a shocker. Like the same way that DeepSeek came out, and DeepSeek was like this huge thing, and people saying, oh, China's going to compete with the U.S. in terms of the AI and everything.
Yeah.
I think it would be maybe not as big, but a pretty big announcement. People would be kind of shocked. But truly, I don't think we're in AGI yet at all. Okay. But at the same time, time will tell. Things come out every week, every 2 weeks, and these teams that are at Anthropic, OpenAI, even at XAI now with Elon buying up Cursor, there's going to be so much development, so much new stuff that's coming out that our minds will be blown like every week. Like even when a couple weeks ago Claude did their thing with Slack, I thought that was so dope as well. And
huge.
Like I said, it's just things coming out every week, every 2 weeks, every month that's going to be a shocker, but like a huge thing. I think for sure it's outside of the one company I know about. I think there's going to be some other stuff coming out in the next 6 months that's going to kind of like shock the landscape or whatnot.
For sure. And I'm sure you're seeing it within, long-term clients, 12, 14, even probably 6 months. Do you relay new inferences that you've maybe built, something's come out, you've played, your team has come up with it? How are you able to maybe not just upsell, but still keep that trust with that client, but then also continue to share that long-term value?
Can you restate the first sentence?
Yeah, because there's a lot. There's not only it moves so fast, there might be new inferences that you know a client could benefit, from not
Oh,
just an
okay.
upsell, but a particular instance that is either new or finding its way into a value prop, how are you
No,
still
for
able
sure.
to keep their trust and present them?
No, no, that's a great question. A lot of clients, I remember when OpenClaw was a big thing. A lot of clients they wanted that, and I was not a lot. Let me say 6, 7 clients wanted that, and I told them
Yeah.
completely honest. You could build something just like OpenClaw without OpenClaw. You don't really need all this, and even the people that we did do OpenClaw for, they wanted a Mac Mini and this and that. I'm like, you're just seeing a lot of stuff online, and you just don't know what's right from wrong because you're not in the space at all. So we often try to diverge our clients from going towards the trends or going towards what they see online because a lot of times they don't know what's right from wrong. And we're pretty honest because one, we understand that if we overcharge the client for 10, 20, 30K now, we may never have them for the next 6 to 12 months because they may just not need our services. And also they may feel that we kind of done them wrong and we try to take money out of their pocket. So that's
Sure.
why we always try to stay very equal on both parties, and we really explain the efficiency side, the return on investment for them, and even I think even today I posted on LinkedIn, was it today, yesterday? It's actually going pretty well. I think like 200 likes right now. I talked about how this dental practice, they wanted an AI caller, and they wanted some CRM stuff. They wanted like this whole tech stack that was so unneeded. And while on a call with them, we usually before we hop on calls, we do like a whole background check with their website, their competitors, and everything. But this is pretty early on when I was doing the consulting company, which is myself and
Yeah.
one information guy. But I looked at their whole funnel, their Google reviews and everything, and it really wasn't. They needed an AI caller. They just didn't have an optimized site for booking. There was no place for people to book. There was no place for people to find their address. There was no place for people to even see what services that they was offering. And a lot of times they just needed a website with a chat bot and that could help pre-approve for insurance or schedule people. And that saved them from them paying us a few $1,000s from them paying us 15K plus. And like I said, when business owners usually ask for something, it's rarely the actual bottleneck. They think the AI caller is the bottleneck. Most of the time, it's just something a little upstream that they might have not thought of before. And a lot of times, it's a lot simpler than about what they thought about before.
That's huge. Maybe they saw it, and of course, I'm not speaking for anybody, but it's clearly out there either through AI slop with UGC. They come to you, man. I gotta get 100 videos out a day because my competitors are doing this, and then you look on what their actual customers go to. Like, gotta start with base number 1 before you go and go to base 3. But that's kind of directly looped into my next point. If there was one particular inference that you wanted to share with either a newcomer or somebody that's been established in this AI agency space throughout your great experience, what's that one knowledge of truth?
That one knowledge of truth for the AI consultancy / agency space. The one knowledge of truth of people I've seen that's done extremely well, 200, 300, 500, even $1 million a month, is this is free game. I never even said this in
Don't
my,
hold back.
I haven't even told people this in my Telegram chat, WAP or nothing, but this is completely free game.
Yeah.
So I always say niche down, right? Niche down, whatever, right? You often want to niche down because if you don't have the proper systems, funnels, and team, you get overwhelmed. We all get overwhelmed in life. But the game is this. So our company's called AI Consulting, right? We have multiple websites, LinkedIn pages, and other sites that's like AI, law AIC, doc AIC, and AIC stands for AI Consulting. Dental AIC. So even though where we have niche pages and niche websites for each niche, like roofing AIC, we're still kind of broad. But the thing is, we can now hit every single niche that are, high average order value niches, and they think that they're talking to a consulting company that only focuses on this specific problem and this specific industry. But in all reality, we're focused on multiple different industries. But when you're talking to a client and the client sees that you're a broad company or you're just consulting or agency, they often second guess, oh, why should I work with them if they're not if they're not like a master or a pro in our niche. But by you having niche websites for each niche, the client is going to think that, oh, you are like the guy for this niche already and everything. So that works out a lot. And also when people refer you, it's a whole like triangle effect.
That is a huge drop of gold, and I'm sure it would have taken a lot of cave digging to actually get that out. And so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and then also same thing like running ad accounts for each niche as well. So AIC doc, AIC law, AIC dental. Like you have to pretty much have it as its own entity, each one of them, and print. If you do it right, it will print.
It's going to imprint throughout every niche, even if it's just like a slight experience, slight knowledge for it. And I heard this recently a ton, actually, through consumer podcasts, and Gary Vaynerchuk advocates for we are not here in social media, rather we're here in interest media. Where do you find that to be true? Like you said, creating an AIC for law or an AIC for dental, AIC for attorneys. Do you find that interest media to sector within what you had just instanced?
I'm sorry, again, kind of just cut out when you talk about Gary Vee and everything about that. You said interest media?
Yeah, so one thing I heard from him recently in either like guest conferences or even stuff on his own platform is that the era of social media has left. You open your feed, you see something from your aunt, friend, whatever, oftentimes you open up and you find exactly the subject of interest. A lot of people are out there, they're seeing Claude Code, five best GitHub repos. That to me sounds like view hooks, which isn't going to applicate to actual results, and you know that from experience as well. But what do you find to be true within interest media, either through content generation or within those new platforms that you would instance? Do you feel as if that is true in your space and how you operate on social?
Yeah, I think to a certain degree it definitely is true. And like LinkedIn is a cheat code. I tell people all the time, and people don't know the stat. The average active account means that they're on LinkedIn, like they're on the platform at least checking once a month, whatever. The average active account posts one time per week on LinkedIn.
Dang.
If you post 7 or 14 times a week on LinkedIn with good content, good videos as well too, you will reach such a big audience, and LinkedIn will show your content to your exact audience because you're talking to business owners, investors, founders, and it's just the cheat code to the point that LinkedIn has brought us so much income from just organic content and even ads and even their sales navigator feature that it makes no sense that people aren't, trying to hone down on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is, if you're posting on Instagram and TikTok, start posting on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn will literally change not only your business, but it will also change your professional image in the space. Because now instead of 20 or 30-year-old people, judging you, you got 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old people not just judging you, but wanting to connect with you because they see you're the go-to person in the space, because they see that in terms of this type of content, they're only seeing this type of content from you on LinkedIn because no one else in your space is posting on LinkedIn.
And you might even just initiate yourself as that one piece expert, or that one small town pharmacist or one small town dentist really sees. And sometimes even like veterinarians, like, come on, we always have to shout out our pets. Yep. And it's really that one advocacy of, if you're doing it on one, copy and paste. Of course, there's some differentiations where like LinkedIn is more professional and TikTok and Instagram and so forth. But last point here, Jared, is there one thing that you're seeing across the board that's really holding people back from making a sufficient way of financial freedom in the AI
Financial.
space? That if you could just beat it again, hand after hand, what are you seeing that's keeping them away from that?
That's a good question. I think I just talked to some kids. I just hopped on a call from some kids that's in like the summer class. One of my old professors asked me to like talk to the kids, and I think what's keeping people away from financial freedom in the AI space? In the AI space, or just AI consulting?
AI consulting. Let's keep it pretty
Okay.
niche, like you said.
Yeah, I would just say the biggest thing is they first get overwhelmed and they try to sell to everyone, and they try to. Okay, best. Like I say this on my videos as well. They try to sell to everyone. They try to sell the tools, not the outcomes, and also they keep on like trying to learn the automations and learn. No offense, but you should first learn how to build a business and run the business and try to get clients before you try to do the automations. Because you got outsource the automations. You still want to learn how to do it, but you can outsource a lot of automation stuff. A lot of anything that takes an engineer to do, you can outsource that. And
Yeah.
biggest thing is that no niche, no offer, and they often just focus too much on learning the automations rather than learning how to run a business. So, yeah.
That's huge game.
And
Well, thank
and
you.
also
Yeah.
last thing,
Yeah.
a lot of times people they talk to business owners who don't have the money. Like no offense, but why are you talking to? I mean, barbers make a lot of money. My barber makes a lot of money, but not every
True.
barber, not every barber or hair salon or not every restaurant needs some type of AI automation or some type of marketing funnel or need the stuff you're selling. You need to go to business owners and people who actually are already looking for what you're selling and who already have the budget. If these people that you're going towards, if their business only makes, let's say, 30, 40K a month, which is good money, but they have a human payroll team, their budget to pay you may only be $500 a month, which if you're trying to grow and expand, that's terrible, but you're starting off, that's okay. But that's where you gotta go to people who have the money, and that's why I tell people look for average order value. People who already have been not burnt, but might not have a good experience with somebody else. Because then, if you can instill that trust that you are the go-to person in this field or this space,
You'll have it for
they're
life.
life, and that's the thing. And those referrals go so long as well. So, and that's why again, we're gonna introduce our own version like Upwork because a lot of times people can't find business owners that have the budget and want these type of services. So if we can connect the business owners plus the consultant owners into a platform, it's a no-brainer. And also a lot of times, I'm gonna give another free game. When people come to me or try to get referred to me, they don't have the budget to, no offense,
Yeah.
to do to pay for our services. So if they only have a budget, let's say $500 to $2,000, okay, this is a no-brainer. Hey, post that this is your budget on our platform for what you want. Someone's gonna bid for it, and then boom. Now you get something from someone that is either trained for me or someone that's watched my content for free, and they could possibly give you a very, very good project and outcome.
That's huge. You clearly have such a great vision. I'm so curious at the same point. How do you share this so well with your team? Because they clearly act like a sports team. Everybody's bought in, everybody's moving in the same direction. How do you relate that as a founder?
I would say you really have to be very appreciative of the people that work for you and appreciate the people who trusted in you to give them like money and provide for themselves and their family. And the biggest step is leading by example. And the second biggest thing is if you're leading a team, you always want to give people their credit. If someone does a good job, tell them good job. You want to encourage them just so they're like, oh yeah, he said this was an actual really good job. He was impressed. I need to make sure that everything I do now is at this level. So then, I could possibly get paid more, or I could possibly, move up the ranks. And also, I give a lot of people that work for me a lot of freedom. a lot of freedom, a lot of control, and even sometimes even equity as well. So by incentivizing the people that work for you and giving them not just good communication and good encouragement, there's no reason why you can't go far. And the biggest thing is just being on top of things. If I'm not on top of things, if I'm missing calls, I'm not responding to them, and I'm not giving them tasks, they're gonna slouch and they think, oh, this is an easy paycheck, when it's not. So,
That's fair. It really, if the head of the fish stinks, the rest does. And at that same point, I have always found myself like during Thanksgiving and during the holidays, you never see a place that's giving food for the holidays going to super rich neighborhoods because they don't need it. Essentially, in that same framework, where if you're wanting to sell that $2,000, that $2,500 service to Joe, the barber that you've been going to for the last 2 years, that most likely is not going to close. But if you're able to close that in on a community and within that existing trust, then it clearly states out for yourself. This was incredible. I wanted to make sure before we closed out here, Gera, if there was anything else that you wanted to touch on.
The only thing I'd say is follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, Gera Baano or Gera.AI. And if a startup that we're launching is open data, so if you want to make money from your data, instead of uploading data on Instagram, TikTok, and you're not getting paid from it, you can upload your data from on our platform, make some money off of it, and even have your own debit card and credit card with us as well. And also, if you're a business owner and you're doing over $50K a year in transactions, you can sign up for ZoraPay. ZoraPay, we just did a partnership with a payment processing company that's done over 250 million in GMV, and we'll give you the best rates, the best percentages down the line. So contact me if you're a clinic, a practice, if you want our services for consultancy, or you want me to be an advisor for your company, contact us below. You'll see all the contact information. But appreciate you.